What if you could access a secret cosmic hard drive containing the records of every soul that has ever lived? This is the story of Edgar Cayce, a seemingly ordinary man who, while in a deep trance, could reportedly diagnose illnesses in people he'd never met, speak of ancient civilizations with remarkable detail, and see the future. The world called him the sleeping prophet. But what if the source of his incredible knowledge wasn't a divine gift? What if he'd found a back door into the universe's ultimate database? The Akashic Records. Section 1. The Legend. The Problem. To get a grip on this mystery, you first have to get to know the man. Edgar Cayce, born on a Kentucky farm in 1877, was by all accounts a pretty ordinary guy. A devout Christian, a Sunday school teacher, a husband, and a photographer. He wasn't a scholar or a doctor. His formal education was limited, but his life took a sharp turn into the extraordinary around 1900 when a strange illness caused him to almost completely lose his voice. After baffling doctors, a local hypnotist offered to help as a last resort. What happened next became the foundation of his entire legacy. While in a self-induced hypnotic trance, Cayce, who could barely manage a painful whisper while awake, began to speak in a perfectly clear voice. He didn't just talk, he diagnosed his own condition, referring to his body as the entity, and prescribed a complex set of treatments that, to everyone's astonishment, completely restored his voice. This was the central puzzle that would define his life. How could an uneducated photographer, asleep on a couch, prescribe medical treatments with the confidence of a seasoned physician? The mystery only deepened. A local doctor, Al Lane, began asking Cayce to perform these readings for his most difficult cases. Cayce would be given only a patient's name and location, sometimes hundreds of miles away. He'd lie down, enter his trance, and provide startlingly accurate diagnoses and effective treatment plans for people he had absolutely no knowledge of. The phenomenon snowballed. Soon his abilities seemed to expand beyond medicine. In his trance state, Cayce could speak on almost any topic. He described the lost continent of Atlantis with geographic precision, discussed the lives of the Essenes years before the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, and talked about reincarnation with profound wisdom. He even made predictions, famously warning of the 1929 stock market crash, and, in 1935, describing an alliance between Germany, Austria, and Japan years before the Tripartite Pact made it a reality. The world was left with one burning question. Where was all this information coming from? Section 2. The Revelation. The Solution. The answer, as Cayce himself would eventually claim through his readings, was not that he was some kind of miracle. He believed he was a librarian. He hadn't been gifted divine knowledge. He claimed he had been given a key to the library where all knowledge is stored. He called it the Book of Life, or the Akashic Records. Akasha is a Sanskrit word meaning ether or space. The idea was first popularized in the West by the Theosophical movement, but it was Edgar Cayce's work that truly brought the concept into public consciousness. Imagine it not as a book, but as a vibrational field, a cosmic hub of information. Cayce described it as the universe's supercomputer, a central storehouse of all information for every individual who has ever lived. It's an energetic imprint of every single thought, word, action, and emotion from every life, past and present, and even potential futures. Think of it as the ultimate cloud server. The idea is that as you live, your soul's journey is uploaded and recorded onto this skein of time and space. This was Cayce's explanation for the mystery. He wasn't inventing these diagnoses or channeling a spirit. He believed his unique trance state allowed his conscious mind to become so quiet that he could attune his own consciousness to this universal field. He could log in, search for an individual's file, and simply read the information that was already there. Section 3. The Evidence. Building credibility. This claim would be easy to write off as pure fantasy. The sheer volume of documentation. Edgar Cayce's work is arguably the most well-documented collection of psychic phenomena in history. For over 43 years, nearly every reading he gave was painstakingly transcribed. The process was methodical. Cayce would lie on a couch, his wife Gertrude would guide the reading by asking the client's questions, and his secretary, Gladys Davis, would take down every word in shorthand. This diligence resulted in over 14,000 documented readings, now preserved and studied by the nonprofit he founded in 1931, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, ARE. The case files are filled with incredible stories. For instance, after an explosion in his photo lab, doctors told Cayce his son Hugh would be permanently blind. A reading from Cayce prescribed a protocol of treatments that reportedly restored the boy's sight 6 weeks later. Then there was the woman suffering from scleroderma, a rare and hardening skin disease. A 1937 reading prescribed treatments that she claimed sent the disease into immediate remission. However, it's important to note that these accounts are anecdotal and have not been verified by rigorous scientific study. His prophetic record is also a mixed bag. He did have some notable hits. For example, he advised a doctor in 1925 to be cautious with finances due to adverse forces that will come then in 1929. And just 6 months before the crash, he warned a stockbroker of a coming great disturbance in financial circles. But it's also crucial to note that his prophetic record wasn't perfect. Cayce made some major predictions that famously did not come to pass, such as the destruction of Los Angeles and San Francisco between 1958 and 1998, China becoming a Christian nation by 1968, and even that Jesus would return in 1998. One prediction that was eerily accurate, however, related to his own death. On January 1st, 1945, he stated he would be buried in 4 more days. He died of a stroke on January 3rd. Section 4. The How-To. Personal application. The most profound part of Cayce's message wasn't just that this cosmic database existed, but that access wasn't exclusive to him. He claimed his ability was a highly developed skill, not a supernatural gift. According to his teachings, we all access fragments of the akashic records. Ever had a powerful moment of déjà vu? That unshakable feeling you've been somewhere before. A dream so vivid it felt more real than waking life. What about that gut feeling that guides you? According to Cayce's philosophy, these are fleeting glimpses into your soul's vast history, momentary connections to your own akashic file. So how do we move from accidental glimpses to more conscious access? While Cayce's deep trance method was unique, he laid out principles for others. It begins not with a secret technique, but with intention. The records, he explained, respond to a pure motive, the genuine desire for spiritual growth and to be of service to others. It's about quieting the noise of the conscious mind and learning to listen to the subtle whispers of the soul. For many, this addresses some of the deepest human struggles, feeling lost, searching for purpose, or repeating negative patterns. By accessing this information, you might begin to understand the why behind your life. A specific talent could be a skill honed over many lifetimes. A particular fear might be the echo of a past trauma. The records are presented as a tool for understanding these karmic patterns, not as a sentence to repeat them, but as a chance to heal and consciously choose a different path. Section 5. The Grand Implications. The wow factor. The idea of the Akashic records, if you entertain it, changes how we think about ourselves and the universe. It reframes our entire understanding of consciousness, life, and death. First, it implies that consciousness is not just a product of the brain. If every experience is recorded in a non-physical realm, it suggests that consciousness is fundamental to the universe, not some temporary biological accident. Your life becomes a meaningful chapter in a much larger story. It gives a tangible mechanism to concepts like karma and reincarnation. These ideas shift from being articles of faith to a system of cosmic cause and effect. The Akashic records would act as the universe's accounting system, where every action creates patterns that carry over from one life to the next, not for punishment, but for learning. Finally, it dissolves the finality of death. If your soul's record is eternal, then death isn't an erasure, it's just the end of a chapter. The book remains. This perspective suggests we are all eternal beings on a journey of evolution, temporarily here in a physical body to learn, grow, and become more conscious. It paints a picture of a universe that isn't cold and random, but intelligent, purposeful, and deeply interconnected. Edgar Cayce, the humble photographer from Kentucky, did more than just heal the sick and predict the future. He opened a door to a tantalizing possibility that a hidden library of cosmic knowledge might just exist, with a record of our collective journey written on the very fabric of the universe. His true secret wasn't a mystical power, but a claimed connection to this profound resource, a resource he insisted is the birthright of every single soul. He reminds us that we are more than our current circumstances, more than our jobs, and more than our fleeting worries. We are ancient souls with a history written across the stars, and a future that is still ours to create. So here's a question for you. If you could open the book of your soul, what is the first thing you would ask? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had an experience you couldn't quite explain? A moment of profound intuition, or a dream that felt like a memory? Let me know.